Hi guys, I'm back. I was just thinking about this time I'm doing a lot better. I'm in a better headspace than I was last time. But I'm honestly thinking about how discipline really is important and work ethic is also important, and how when it comes to work ethic and discipline, I really don't have either one. And I've tried everything I know to build that, but it's really difficult for me to continue on with that when there's always something that interrupts me, whether it's some sort of health issue or a mental health issue or something. I've never been one of these people that can work long hours, and I tend to get burnt out after even just 6 hours of working on something. And even then, that's a lot of effort for me, and it's very hard for me to sustain that. And one of the reasons I'm unable to hold jobs is because I don't really have a strong work ethic, and I hate to admit that, but it's honestly true, and I feel lazy most of the time. But I really don't think it's laziness. I think it's down to like ADHD and stuff like that. I've really tried everything I know, and it's not because of my willpower, because I've tried to will myself to do stuff that I want to do, and unfortunately, I just can't seem to stick to a consistent schedule, and I really struggle with consistency. And I'm just curious if anyone else out there has struggled with consistency like that. It's difficult to maintain any type of habit for me. I have a hard time building habits. And building habits for me seems like it's a thing that I just can't really do. I'll stick with something. I even managed to stick with something for like that 30-day period, which is crazy. But then I just kind of quit right after that. And that really was a huge effort for me to do that. I stuck with meditation one time for 30 days straight for about 10 minutes a day. And I didn't really notice any difference. And it's probably one of those things you got to do for a really long time, which discourages me, because then I'm like, well, I don't think I'm able to do it for that long, so what's the point of even doing it one day if I can't do it every day? So then I start like tripping on my head, like in my head, it's like I kind of like talk myself out of habits, I guess, because I'm like, well, I know I won't be able to stick with it, so what's the point? And I know that's the wrong attitude to have. But I'm just trying to figure out ways to stay consistent, and I really want to do better with that. And I'm fighting against a whole life of conditioning of kind of being sporadic with my habits. And I look at all my art, and I have so much art, but I've never been one of these people who's able to draw every single day. And I'm not one of these people that's very academically disciplined with my art. I actually got kicked out of an academic art school because I just couldn't hang with the academic kids. And that was really hurtful, but I guess it was fine. I'm too emotional. I had an emotional outburst and wasn't really able to regulate my emotions because I was in like a bad headspace at the time. It's hard to like focus on art when your survival is at stake, and I'm lucky to be in a place where I'm not completely struggling for survival, because I know that could be a thing that happens. Sometimes I am curious about like what my art will be like in 20 years, but I've kind of been on this plateau for the last like 5 years. I don't think I've improved at all in 5 years. I've just kind of reached like a maximum limit with my art skills because I just don't know how to improve anymore. And I've done everything I know how to do, honestly, without paying for mentorship, which is really what I need to do, but I'm not really able to do that. And most of what I would have to do to improve my art at this point is like, it costs money. But I'd really love to take like a class nearby, at like a local artist school, not like a university or anything like that, but just like maybe a workshop or something to connect with other artists and be in that classroom environment again, because I know that would help my mental health to be around other artists and help my accountability, because when you have other people holding you accountable, it's a lot easier than holding yourself accountable. But yeah. I have a hard time figuring out how to organize my life in a way where I'm able to do the things that I want to do, and because I just can't stay consistent. I feel like I'm uneducated in a lot of ways. I only have a high school education. I see all these smart people around and I'm like, damn, I wish I had something that was smart about me. In terms of like what I know, I'm not really good at logic, to say the least. It's not really my thing. I know a couple of you have recommended volunteering, which I think is not a bad idea. I don't really have any excuses in regards to that. I just haven't really done that. I volunteered before at like animal shelters and churches and stuff like that, but it usually ends up the same as employment. There's always something that I do wrong, and I always end up not being able to handle it, or I do it the wrong way, and things get weird. But anyway. I just kind of like focus on the fact that I was never really wired for success. I was wired to survive my environment, that is, and I don't really feel bad about it. It's just weird to be this old and have nothing to do about it. Like, it's the same thing that I've been talking about. It's like I know that a lot of this is within my control, but at the same time I'm really not sure which parts. And I try to lose myself in like maladaptive daydreams and thinking about being somebody else that's really successful, or somebody else that has friends, or somebody else entirely. And I just keep missing these opportunities to hang out with people, and I know a lot of it is because of my own attitude and my own decisions. But I'm in such a habit of inertia that it's very difficult for me to take action and break out of that inertia. It's like pushing against a boulder. I feel like this is a Sisyphean effort sometimes just to get out of the house. And so sometimes I feel like it's so much effort that I'm going to mess it up that I just don't go anyway. And that's really not the best idea. All these minor inconveniences that trigger me, normally, they resolve themselves very quickly usually. And I shouldn't lose my shit over minor inconveniences or have a nervous system reaction to a minor inconvenience, but I do. And I don't know how to handle that. Sometimes I feel like a gigantic toddler in a lot of ways. Like, in terms of my skills, I feel like emotionally I'm still a baby. I really don't know what else to do. Like I said, I don't know how to be consistent with my art. I've tried everything. Writing a schedule, trying to follow the schedule. I feel like with ADHD it's very difficult to be consistent in anything. Sometimes I'll go a month without drawing at all to focus on something else, and then I'll come back and do it later. And I'm just trying to see my own potential, and it's very difficult to see my own potential when it's like, it seems as though all of it has been wasted for nothing. People say believe in yourself, but it's difficult because I don't even know what that self is. Like, what is a self? I have a hard time understanding a self concept. have a hard time understanding, like, what is a self-concept. It doesn't make sense. But anyway, the whole world is strange. I don't know what else to do. I really don't want to complain too much, because I know, like I was saying before, like, I have a lot to be grateful for, and I never want to ignore that. But there's so many things that I would like to improve about myself, such as my ability to stay focused. I really do miss school. I want to go back to school, but I really just don't think I can afford to. I was good at school. I had social struggles mostly, but I liked the structure of school. The problem now is just that it's been so long that I don't know how to study anymore, and I think my brain has turned to mush. I've never really tested it. I know I could use my free time in any way that I want, but usually I end up scrolling TikTok all day, and that's really pathetic. There's really no excuse for that. I'm just gonna have to do everything that I can to, like, figure out a way to be the best I can be within my limitations, and not feel sorry for myself every day. I don't really feel sorry for myself every day. I don't really think about myself 24/7. It just kind of comes in waves when I really do have a bad time and I'm, like, really thinking about how negative everything is. It's just difficult to be my age and feel like, you know, when my mom was this age, she had it all figured out. And I don't want to blame her, but I don't think I received the support that I needed. And she did her best, but I really always felt like I was a bit cast aside as a kid. Like, I was supposed to just do my work and not seek attention from my parents at all. I feel like I was kind of rejected as a kid emotionally. But I guess a lot of people go through that. It's nothing special. I don't think talking about my feelings 24/7 is the best idea. I think focusing on solutions is also a good idea. But you have to process the emotions before you can let them go. Logic doesn't always fix everything. And that's kind of what my mom did. She would try to fix things with logic. I've always been more emotional than logical, so it's very difficult for me to cope when people are, like, trying to rationalize what I'm feeling, instead of helping me work through it. So normally I have no one to hold space for me or no one to talk to about my feelings. So here I am talking to strangers on the internet. And I really appreciate you guys' support. It's been a lot. I'm getting a lot of comments now, so much that I can't really keep up with all the comments. So if you comment and I don't answer, just know that I did read it. I'm reading all of them. For better or for worse, trying to filter out the bad ones, of course. I know I don't always agree with everyone's comments. But I think work ethic has to be built in childhood. It's cultural. And I don't think my parents really instilled a work ethic within me. I wouldn't know how to instill one in my kids because no one ever instilled one in me. It's one of the reasons I don't want to have kids, because I'm afraid that I would make things so much worse for them. I don't have the resources to do it. But anyway, there's a lot of reasons, as I've gone into before. I'll probably talk to you guys later. This might be the end. My mom's about to come in my room, so I'm about to turn it off. If If I suddenly turn it off, it's because she appeared. Alright, I gotta go. Bye.